Hello everybody, my name is Voske, and for some reason there's a ton of Resident Evil movies. For some reason people just love making them. So I was like, hey, I like Resident Evil, and watched every single one of them and ranked them from worst to best. And goddamn, these movies have some really low lows. And I would just like to say very quick, this is only the movies, so the Netflix series and Infinite Darkness aren't here, but I will leave them for their own videos at some point. And with that being said, this is every Resident Evil movie ranked from worst to best. Now this movie, it's a movie. This is the epic conclusion to the Paul W.S. Anderson movies. And like all good conclusions, they change literally everything about the previous movies. Like Umbrella. Instead of being a company developing bioweapons to sell to militaries, like in the games, they are now a religious group who wants to cleanse the world and rebuild it in their image. And the main character, Alice, originally she worked for Umbrella to defend the Hive, but she lost her memory. But actually it turns out she's been a clone of the daughter of the co-owner of Umbrella the whole time. Oh yeah, and you know Dr. Isaacs, who died in the third film? Yeah, he's a clone too. And actually, he's the big boss of Umbrella, not Wesker, even though he takes direct orders from Wesker several times in the series. And on the topic of Wesker, you want to know how he dies? Albert fucking Wesker, you know, Mr. Man that it took overdosing him, 1 million bullets, 2 rocket launches, and an active volcano to take down. He gets killed by a fucking door. I'm not even kidding. A fucking door. Not even counting the games, he survived worse than that in these movies. This movie is just terrible. Not only is it bad as a Resident Evil movie in like the game sense, but it is terrible as a Resident Evil movie in like this series sense. That's impressive. This movie is really weird. It tries to be a retelling of Resident Evil 1 and 2, but misses the mark quite a bit. It feels like they read a paragraph on each game's story and were like, oh okay, I get it. Then they looked up top 10 most referenceable Resident Evil moments, then called it a day. Like there's a ton of in-your-face references, like a zombie writes itchy tasty on a window, obviously referencing the file from the original game. And Jill steals a sandwich and is like, it's Jill's sandwich now. Obviously referencing Barry Burton. Every character is nothing like they are in the games. For example, Leon. The director Johannes Roberts is always talking about how Leon is his favorite character. But you cannot tell with this movie. It's like he read that Leon was late on the first day of his job and was like, okay, Leon is useless. I get it. Leon in this movie is a bumbling idiot that can't really do anything right. All the other characters aren't better. Chris Redfield is a naive idiot. Jill Valentine is a crazy gun fanatic. And Claire Redfield loses all of her charm. This movie is just really dumb and fun to hate watch with friends. This movie feels very long. I'm struggling to remember what happens in it, and I only watched it a week ago. This movie feels like a very long opening scene. Imagine if Return of the Jedi was only about saving Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. That's how this movie feels. There are some cool ideas in it with the clones, and moral choices with whether they are human or not, but they don't explore that nearly as much as I'd like. There's a lot of game characters in this movie, like Ada Wong, who is surprisingly accurate to the games. They even got the voice actress from most of the games, Sally Cahill, to dub over Lee Bingbing's heavy accent. Barry Burton is also here, but he doesn't do anything, so who cares? Leon is here too, but he also doesn't do anything but shoot dudes and thirst over Ada. There's a part where he literally tells Alice to leave a little girl for dead. Yeah, Leon wouldn't do that, like at all. Leon would be gone to save her before Alice even noticed. Jill is also here, kinda. They borrowed a plotline from Resident Evil 5 where Jill is under mind control, but somehow do it worse. But yeah, this movie is just one long fight scene and it's honestly skippable. Nothing happens in it. This is probably the goofiest Resident Evil movie, but that's not a bad thing. This movie is really fun to laugh at. Just watch any fight scene from this movie and you had the best time. It came out around when Resident Evil 5 was released, so it takes a lot of elements from it. Like the T-Virus zombies now have the weird mouth thing like the Magini. And Chris Redfield is here, but he talks like an asshole for some reason. They also had the Executioner guy that was in RE5 for like 2 minutes for some reason. But yeah, not much to say about this movie, it's just dumb fun. This is the third Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil movie, and the last actually good one in my opinion. After the second movie, the entire world is a desert wasteland, and they kinda use a Mad Max vibe. So the movie takes place mostly on the move with Claire Redfield's convoy in Nevada. I'm not American, I don't know how to say it. There's quite a few really cool scenes in this one. For example, there's a part with these zombie crows that's honestly fucking terrifying. As an Australian, I know not to fuck with birds because of these fucks. I also noticed a trend with these series in this movie, where they just keep going back to the laser room from the first movie over and over and over. Like, I get it, it's a cool scene, you guys did good, but come on. It's in like every other movie at this point. You can definitely tell this is the first Resident Evil animated movie. Like, it's not bad, but it's very, very rough around the edges. This movie has the long-awaited return of Claire Redfield, and she is amazing in this. I honestly have a huge crush on this version of her. The scene where she winks at Leon in the elevator makes me feel things, damn it. On the topic of Leon, he is kinda boring in this movie. He just stands there emotionless, just saying shit. And that's not just the animation either. Every other character is very expressive, but Leon is just a statue. Laura Bailey is also in this movie. You may know her as the voice of Helena Harper in Resident Evil 6, but she plays a woman called Angela Miller, who is basically the same character as Helena. I know this movie came out before RE6, but I couldn't not notice it. This movie is also kind of a Resident Evil 2 Part 2, because it has Claire and Leon going against the T-Virus and the G-Virus. But in the end, this movie is definitely worth watching. It's good for what it is. So this movie tries to recreate Resident Evil 3, keyword there, tries. Like, it has a Jill Valentine and it has a Nemesis, it has a Raccoon City, but a lot of the details that make Resident Evil 3 as good as it is missing. Nemesis is a lot less threatening, and I can barely remember what he does in the movie. The suit they made is very badass though. Yeah, Jill is here, but a lot of her cool moments get overshadowed by Alice, like every other game character in this series to be honest. But it's the most noticeable here. The reason this movie is so high is no joke, I absolutely love this one character, LJ. He steals every scene he's in. I'm being a little bit too harsh to this movie. It's this high for a reason, and you gotta give him credit for at least trying to adapt a game here. This might be a hot take, but I think this movie is genuinely good. One of the best video game movies to ever come out. You can't have a bad time watching this movie. Like, yeah, it's cheesy and dumb, but so are the games. There's so many iconic scenes in this movie, like the laser hallway, even though it's overused in the sequels, the first zombie fight, and pretty much everything the Red Queen says is a meme. I kinda wish this was the only Resident Evil movie Paul W.S. Anderson ever made, because the sequels really bring it down. But that's all I really have to say about this movie. It's just a solid. This movie is basically Resident Evil 4 Part 2. Leon Kennedy goes to a part of Europe to fight Las Plagas and encounters Ada Wong again, but instead of a cult, my boy is taking on a whole damn country. I absolutely love Leon on this. He's such a fucking smartass through the whole thing. Like, no joke, this is probably the funniest Resident Evil movie. It knows it's dumb and just rolls with it. There was this character called LD, he was basically a weeb but for Americans. And he's so excited when he's around Leon. It's fucking hilarious. There's quite a few jokes about America and I'm always here for it.
Is it common for people in America to be packing one of these while on vacation?
Sure. We've been doing it since the country was first founded.
Wow! America's the bomb, yo!
This and every movie from this point are great turn your brain off and have fun movies. They're all dumb in a good way. I'm not going to go fully into detail here because I have a full video on this movie and I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I can best describe this movie as the Avengers of Resident Evil. It has every main Raccoon City survivor team up to stop a world-ending threat and marks the long awaited return of Jill Valentine. And she absolutely doesn't disappoint. The villain here is also great. I will leave a card to my full video on this movie. If you want my full opinion, go check it out. This may be a hot take, but my favorite is Resident Evil Vendetta. I don't know what it is about this movie, I just love it so much. It's a perfect blend of stupid and badass. This is easily the darkest version of Leon, and a lot of people don't like seeing him as a depressed alcoholic. So people automatically call it bad, but I disagree. It's not like he's a completely different character. He's still charming and a smartass, but but he's also a lot angrier and has a lot more self-hatred. It makes sense for his character as well. Ever since Resident Evil 2, we've known that Leon cares about people and would do anything to protect them. And I think watching your friends and allies get eaten alive, turning into mindless monsters you have to put down, would really destroy a man after a while. People also say it's just a copy of Chris's development in Resident Evil 6. And yes it is, kinda. Chris in RE6 is more about him getting too angry and losing focus. While with Leon, he's just tired of doing the same shit over and over, and he doesn't see the point anymore and wants to give up. I realize I've been talking about Leon way too long. The action scene in the hallway is my favorite action scene of all time. And there's this really dumb fight at the end with Chris and the villain Ares, where they keep dodging each other's bullets. Jesus Christ, why was that so hard to say? It's so dumb, it's good. This movie is also surprisingly gory. People get fucked up here. So that's my list. As usual, I'd love to see the discussion continue in the comments. I love reading through seeing everyone's opinions. And while you're down there, drop a like if you enjoyed. And subscribe if you're interested in future videos. Thank you so much for making it till the end, and I'll see you all in a minute.